The Walt Disney Company is literally begging people to come to Disney World. You might find that strange, given that it's the middle of summer. But folks, we're here to tell you it's not because, dang it, it's too hot, but rather because it's not the place you go to have a good time anymore. That's due to the flaws and faults put in place at the happiest place on earth by Bob Iger and his team. And today we're going to tell you what all that means and tell you, in perhaps an episode that is called The One Where Pro Gets Mad. Folks, we're going to tell you what has gone absolutely haywire with the Walt Disney Company. Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we are all sunshine, rainbows, and smiles, even while we do not have a good time at Disney World. And that is an unfortunate thing. We are joined today with Marvin the Movie Monster, and folks, we're going to dive into an article that he has written. I want to tell you all, I'm going to go on a rant. I don't normally do that. That's not normally my style. But I had a very negative experience at Walt Disney World Resort yesterday, and I have to say, folks, I've been, gosh, I don't know how many times I have been, how many days, but it's more than most people by a long shot. And yesterday, not the fault of cast members necessarily, the fault of protocols. I can tell you why they cannot find people to go to this park. But Marvin, before we get into it, welcome back to the channel, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm just excited to be here for your rant. I'm going to be playing the role of Emperor Palpatine here tonight, where I'm just like, good.
No, I may need you to be my shrink after this one. You let me sit on the couch and just tell you what I've been through. But before we do that, it appears, Marvin, that many people are going through the same thing because you've got an article on That Park Place. Walt Disney World announces good-to-go pass holder days for July amid low park attendance. Now, a lot of people don't know what good-to-go days are. They've never heard of them before. There are so many crazy slogans with little tiny TMs attached to them that now come out of Disney that people can't even keep up with what this stuff is. I recommend that people go check this out, but you essentially, you peg this that very low attendance is impacting this, and now Disney is reaching out to annual pass holders. And so we'll read this paragraph, then if you could explain to the audience what this is about. It says, that's why the collective pass holder community was shocked when Disney released good-to-go days right smack in the middle of July, typically a heavy vacation time. These include July 10th, 11th, 13th, 14th, 16th, 21st, 28th, and 29th. 4 of these are even weekends, which are days one would expect the parks to be a lot more crowded. All right, so Marvin, for those who don't know what this is, they don't understand it, what are these good-to-go days, and why does this give us some indication of an attendance problem at Disney World?
So once upon a time, annual pass holders were able to just pick up and go to Walt Disney World whenever they wanted. That was part of the fun of having an annual pass, of being more local to the parks. You could just be bored at home and be like, you know what, I'm going to go to Disney. Or maybe you checked the My Disney Experience app back in the Fast Pass Plus days, and so there was a Fast Pass for something you wanted. And so you went and you did it just on the spur of the moment. Now, since COVID, that has not been a thing that anyone has been able to do because Disney has inserted this park reservation system that is obviously never ever going away, and that has really hurt annual pass holders because pass holder reservations are the first ones they cut off during busy times. They're the first ones to fill up, so that means single day park admission can get in far easier. Resort guests especially, they get the first dibs at it, and annual pass holders are usually left getting whatever's left over, right? A good to go day is a day in which the annual pass holder does not need a reservation to go. They can just pick up and go. So for the summer months, these are typically reserved for times where they are like, wow, we're going to have a hard time filling the parks to get to a point where we're going to be profitable for the day. So we've got to open up to annual pass holders who can decide on the spur of the moment to just come on in and fill up all of our empty space.
Right. Late January, late February, September, the times when most people are not going.
July is not the time when people were imagining. The last time we had a good-to-go day was in May, and now for it to happen again in July, everyone was like, are you kidding me? No one expected a good-to-go day anytime before schools in the Northeast opened again in early September.
So you believe then that this means that attendance must be projected to be very poor if they're trying to get annual pass holders to come all throughout July?
Yeah, because annual pass holders are only valued at Walt Disney World in times in which things are dire, at times in which Disney has to turn to them because they come into the parks, they spend money, they buy food, they buy merchandise. Many of them will now buy Genie Plus. So yeah, that is it's definitely I think connected in a lot of ways to attendance and or lack thereof.
And next year is when Epic Universe opens. So Disney should not be dire. Disney should not be dire. This should be the year that people say, let's go to Disney because next year we're going to Universal when they open that big Epic Universe theme park. But Disney are already desperate. And I know why, Marvin. I know why Disney World is desperate to get patrons. Again, folks, let me tell you, I have been going to Disney World for decades. I have been inside the theme parks so many days that I can't even tell you how many days. It's many. It's hundreds, if not thousands. And I'm telling you right now, the parks have never been more miserable. And I'm going to use that language. More miserable than they were in my experience today. I don't want to extrapolate a single day and say that that's everyone's experience. And I'm going to tell you, Marvin, I watched people on Main Street have their religious experience of the fireworks, right? And you had people crying, watching the fireworks. And I don't take that for granted that a lot of people pay big money, $200 a day per person, $300 if you include Genie Plus and you include the food and all of that, $300 and parking. So $300 a day. And it's to have that moment, right? The epiphany kind of thing that they have, the emotional outburst on Main Street. And I get it. But I don't get the idea that we have to be miserable for 12 hours around that experience. And I'm telling you, Disney today, the way it's set up, the protocols that are now in place, you have to suffer. It is unrelenting. It is unrelenting misery at Disney Park. And I'm going to explain why. And this is coming from someone who I adore the parks as they were pre-pandemic. And Marvin, you go to the parks very often. Marvin, how often would you say that you're in the parks?
Oh gosh, I mean, more.
Okay,
I would say.
So
it happens a lot.
You know exactly what we're gonna. Okay, let's start breaking this down. Okay, let me give you one example. So did some park hopping today, and one of the things I wanted to do for the purposes of researching, so that we bring this out on the channel. This is one of the biggest Disney news centric YouTube channels out there. So we got to know what we're talking about. I wanted to do one of the evening extra magic hours to see how that's going with Tron and Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Neither of which, by the way, were running during that time. So take that off the table. Splash Mountain was always open during extra magic hours, but they don't have to do that anymore. So we park hop over to Magic Kingdom in the evening. What I did not realize, Marvin, that despite the fact the park was going to be open until midnight for resort guests, which is no small number of people, they closed down almost all the quick service restaurants at 8 p.m. Not only did they close down almost all the quick service restaurants at 8 p.m., but also the mobile ordering system in the app, My Disney app, went down for a huge number of users. Now, my understanding is that iOS still had it, but if you were not on iOS, you may have been struggling. And what that resulted in, Marvin, was I went up to, eventually I had to make my way to Casey's Corner. It was like the only place left, I'm sure Cosmic Rays was going, but I go over to Casey's Corner, which, by the way, folks, that's on Main Street, and it's before the fireworks. So I go to Casey's Corner to find some food. And, I'm not a hot dog guy, but I'll go over there and do that. And so mobile ordering is not working, remember. So I go up to do the order. They have one little guy standing in front of the restaurant, and he is willing to take your order. You can't go in. There's no register, but you can go to him, and he's got a little tablet. But he's telling everybody that if you order that way, it's going to be 45 minutes to get the hot dog. Wow. And if you tell him, Marvin, that, hey, mobile ordering is down the whole park, so that we can't mobile order. All he can do is repeat his spiel, which is, if you do mobile ordering, you can get your food right away, but this will be 45 minutes. You're like, well, the mobile ordering's not working now. It's all down. The whole system's down. Well, if you do mobile ordering, you can get your hot dog right away, but if you order here, it'll be 45. Like he doesn't know what to say.
Right.
Marvin,
It's just like
walk
on a
us
loop
through
at
this.
that point, like an Android.
Right. No idea what to do. There's no backup system in place. So Marvin, I go over to the Starbucks, right? You might call it Main Street Bakery, but it's really
Oh, I
Starbucks.
will always call it the Main Street Bakery. Yeah.
So I go over there, and it's the line is out the door. And when I've gone in there before, of course, they split the line into the two sides, and there are people working the both sides of the Starbucks, right? No, you actually are. It's the full line transverses the entire bakery, and only half of the the barista bar is being staffed. So at the same time that
I've never
all of the
seen
mobile
that
ordering has
before.
gone down. Oh, and we've got pictures, folks. You can see them right here. But
Wow.
So Marvin, this was just. I mean, you're trapped inside the Magic Kingdom, and you can't get food, and you're paying $300 to stand in 100-degree temperatures with ultra high humidity, and you can't get food because nobody can run a manual cash register anymore. They can't take your money because it's all through this crazy app that doesn't work, just like Tiana's Bayou and Tron. Marvin, walk us through your experiences post-pandemic versus pre-pandemic and how the parks have changed.
Oh, I mean, it's night and day. We've seen more of they've been moving toward this shift toward a mobile first experience for years now, but they are now they are now to the point where they believe that the mobile app is all the customer service you need.
You will live on your phone now, Marvin. You will live on your phone. Don't you dare look up at the windows with the credits on the. No. You stare at your little screen.
There are some things that I like. I like the ability to mobile checkout in the Emporium, for instance. Not have to wait on those long lines for merchandise. The mobile ordering is great when it works, but the problem is Disney's IT has always been awful. And I'm talking WaltDisneyWorld.com back in the day. I'm talking the My Disney Experience app. It always crashes. It always goes down. For a company this big, they cannot get their heads around the concept of technology that works.
Funny you should mention that, Marvin.
Huge problem.
Funny you should mention that. Let me back up then to the beginning of the day, Marvin. You see, the beginning of the day took place at Epcot, where the walls are down now, but there was nobody there. In fact, Epcot was so empty that I have not seen it like that outside of days in September or February in terribly cold weather when they're selling hot chocolate and jackets come out again. But Marvin, there was nobody there. In fact, it was so empty that when I went inside the Mexico Pavilion, the San Angel Inn, Saint Angel, for those of you who want the pronunciation that way, anglicized, but the restaurant that's inside the Mexican Pavilion had, during lunch hours, about 1/4 of the tables were actually being used. So that's how empty we're talking. So Marvin, at the American Pavilion, okay, Voices of Liberty coming out that they're singing, right? Everybody's taking that in. And I decided to wander around a little bit. And what I discovered was that there was a scurry happening, a scurry, folks, of activity, because there was a guy there to fix the ride. It hadn't opened yet. It's not a ride. It's a giant show, and it's a wonderful show, but he was there to fix it. He's an IT guy. Something was broken, and it wasn't ready to go for the day, apparently, best I could tell. He needed to fix this because, well, the show must go on, and it needs to start off for the day. I think this is about noonish. The problem was that the IT guy couldn't go fix the show because there wasn't a maintenance person there. And the cast members who were in charge of making sure this attraction is available, they couldn't find a maintenance guy. And it took a very long time for a maintenance guy to finally show up to let the IT guy go to fix the ride. You get the idea. So you're exactly right, Marvin. It's just, and again, nobody was at Epcot. Nobody.
Remember when the place, and this is, I think, the biggest thing, before COVID, the Disney parks ran like a Swiss watch. It was a well-oiled machine. You were always confident in the fact that what needed to be done was going to get done, and you were going to be taken care of. Now the left hand does no longer knows what the right hand is doing, and the mouth that is speaking to you is usually, coming from behind some unkempt beard or tattoos and piercings, which you never used to see before, and it's usually saying something
all
rude
over the place.
to you.
All over the place. Marvin, good point there. Let me tell you what else happened. So we've got reporters here, okay? That Park Place reporters are also here. and they're checking on stuff like, do the posted wait times actually match, the real wait times you have in the queues, okay? And then we'll take all of those massive amounts of numbers together, and we'll figure out how honest is Disney being in 2024, or how accurate are they? Well, one of the reporters was boarding the tram today, and as they were boarding the tram, they noticed that there was a bio issue on one of the benches of the tram. We don't need to go into detail, folks, about what was there.
Oh dear.
But they exited back out and told the cast member who was helping them load, there's an issue on this bench. We're going to move to a different one. And do you know what the cast member's response was, Marvin?
What?
Well, I didn't put it there. That was the response, rather than, oh, we'll get that cleaned up. Thank you for letting me know. Well, I didn't put that there.
Wow.
Literally what they said. Now, 90% of the cast members are wonderful. There's still an issue with Disney.
Yeah.
10% still. I will say it's improved over last year. There's still an issue of some folks who need to either go back through the training or move on to somewhere else. Chuck E. Cheese, I'm sure, will hire.
In years past, if you were to tell a cast member, any cast member at Disney that has gone through the proper training, that there was something like that on one of those benches in that tram, they would have been as mortified as somebody who that would have, as if that happened in their own home and they're embarrassed. They would have.
Keep going, Marvin.
Everything would have been done to make it right.
Let me keep going on this rant. Let me keep going on the rant. So you get to the extra magic hours, which is no longer called that, I'm sure. I don't know what the new TM is. But there's, whatever the new slogan is for this. It's for resort guests. What I discovered, though, Marvin, was that the cast members were checking at the entrance to the queues for the rides. But what they were not checking was that there were large numbers of families who just decided to jump into the line, not at the entrance, but somewhere else on the turnstiles, and just continue riding, even though they weren't resort guests. And I'm not an elitist, so I don't, whatever. But that was happening. I also noticed, Marvin, that many of the rides you would, expect to ride were not functioning. So guess what? You don't get to ride during extra magic hours. No Tron, no Tiana's, no People Mover.
Sense. Yeah, I mean, no People Mover?
No, it's very hard to keep a People Mover moving. You know that. It's very hard. Oh. So, it was just amazing to me. And then the worst part of all of this, and again, folks, I'm someone who I have very fond memories of the parks. I love what Walt did. I hate what they're doing. I hate the idea that this is misery. But when you go through Epcot during the day, and there's no festival right now, and I've learned after today, if there's no festival at Epcot, there's nothing to do. You should not go. There's no reason to be there. There is nothing to do at Epcot if there's no festival.
What's happened at Epcot now is that the park has become reliant on the festivals. That we've gone so long where there is a festival every single day, with the exception of maybe a couple weeks here and there between. And by a couple weeks, I mean like 2. Right. Between like Flower and Garden and Food and Wine. That now, when they have no festival, they don't know what to do.
There's nothing to do.
It seems empty.
And the Moana splash pad, I'm sorry. If you want to have that experience, now I know they want you to believe it's the most miraculous, wonderful thing, and it's a place for your kids to cool down. Listen, I can go to my house. I can go back home, and I can turn the sprinkler up when my child raises his or her arms in the sky. Like I can turn the knob, and we can have that same experience. Yep. We don't have to do the sewage smell there. But to go back to Magic Kingdom, Marvin, this gets better. Okay, so many of the attractions are not actually running, right? And by the way, during the day, I'm told that Tiana's and Tron went down at the same time for some duration of time, which meant that if you had a virtual queue, well, you're just screwed. But at the end of the day, Marvin, you and I actually record this video quite late, much later than we anticipated, folks. Mm-hmm. And Marvin, the reason that is because the Magic Kingdom, whoever's in charge, decided people didn't need a way to exit anymore. And so they began, number one, there were no express monorails running. They limited it to just the resort line. And guess what? They were shutting down the monorails while people were still in the park. In fact, the monorail that I managed to get on, they were announcing if you need to return to the Magic Kingdom, you need to find a way to do so because we're taking this monorail offline.
Wow.
They were literally, and this is like 30, 40 minutes before the park officially closes.
Oh.
They were making it so that you could not leave this park of your own volition unless you wanted to take a ferry boat or something.
And I'm assuming that the walking path, the bridge to the Grand Floridian, is still closed for the construction, right?
I didn't even go check. It wasn't even on my radar.
Yeah, that was when they put that in. I practically wept with joy.
Yes. So I mean, this is the problem, Marvin. People are paying $300, and this isn't fun anymore. I'm not trying to be negative all the time about the parks. I'm telling you, if they don't fix this, it's going to tank the stock. This will take. You want to find something to take the company down with? Have Walt Disney World, that's 1/3 of all their revenues, be miserable. That'll do it, baby. That will be the thing you can wipe the company out with.
I got one for you. A while back, we took one of the special tours. So now you're talking several $100s.
Which special tour is this? Is this behind? Is this the Keys, or is this the?
No, this is
clearly not behind the scenes. That's not. That's a little bit more expensive than behind the scenes.
One of the ones in Animal Kingdom.
Okay, so you weren't trying to sneak down into the utilidors then. Okay.
No.
Okay.
But we're getting on the truck, right, to go through the safari.
Feed the lions. You wanted to feed the lions.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So the cast member that's loading us in the truck says I literally almost walked out. She goes, oh, hold on, we gotta finagle the opening of this truck. It's the stupidest thing. It just doesn't work really well. Go figure. It was designed by a man.
Oh, well, Marvin, I talked to cast members today and was showing them that there was a problem with the app. This is separate, by the way, from the mobile order. Mm-hmm. And I kid you not, the cast member told me, in regards to the problem I was having, that she has that problem all the time and it makes no sense. I mean, you got to live on your phone, and people's phone. Listen, people's phones are dying. You can find guests all over the park whose phones are dying, and they can no longer participate in the experience of Disney because their phones are dead.
Disney World was once a multi-sensory experience. You could stand in the middle of Main Street and see and hear and smell and touch all these wonderful things, and now everyone is just staring at their phone. It drives me insane because people don't even watch the fireworks like with their eyes anymore. They all watch them through their phones because they're all
the phones all go up. It's kind of weird. So Marvin, I'm in this strange place. I love the parks. I love the history of the parks. I love the design of the parks for the most part. I think they've done real damage to Epcot. I think they've done real damage to Hollywood Studios. Yet Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom remain, from a design standpoint, amazing for the most part. Yes. But they are rapidly destroying these parks. And I don't know what to do about that because, I don't want them to be destroyed. I don't want to have to say to people, I was miserable today, and there are moments of joy. There was a cast member who went above and beyond. The food for lunch was wonderful, but that doesn't make up for all the misery around it. You can't hardly ride rides anymore. They're breaking down all the time. They, if you want to get on them, the standby line just stands still because it's all about Lightning Lane now. Even the people who are paying for Genie Plus aren't having fun if the ride that they don't have Genie Plus is just sitting there and they must stand still in a standby line that's out in the sun because we don't pay for air conditioning anymore. Like it's not fun.
And then you go on something like Tron, which is supposed to be this great new experience. You go inside, it's filthy. There's finger streaks all over all the plastic and all the glass inside. The queue is terrible. And then it's just a 3-minute experience. It just was.
Well, the ride itself is less than 60 seconds.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So. I remember just the first time riding it being like, was that it?
Well, it was designed originally for Chinese audiences who had never had roller coasters, and then they brought it to the United States and didn't say, oh, well, our guests here know what roller coasters are. So we probably shouldn't do a 48-second experience.
Well, that's the thing. They gave us a roller coaster that was designed for China, and they gave us a Tiana's Bayou adventure that was clearly designed for Anaheim that cannot function in the Florida environment.
Well, neither can the Epcot upgrades
Yeah.
in quotes. I mean, it's the poor Encanto performers over there at the Communicore, lip syncing their way and sweating themselves to death. They're going to heat stroke. They're going to heat stroke. There's
Easily.
no air conditioning. There's nothing, and they are lip syncing to an audience that doesn't exist, to ghosts, I suppose, because there's nobody out there watching it because nobody wants to stand in the blazing hot sun of Florida. I swear, I told someone today, it's as if these people who are designing these parks, they've never been to a warm place on the planet. They have no idea that you should provide shade and air conditioning.
Everything is designed for Anaheim. It's a bunch of people that are sitting in an office in Anaheim, and they're like, let's design everything as if it were going to be right here. And they don't think about where it's going. And it's mind numbing. It's mad.
It adds to the misery. I'll tell you that when you can't get away from the weather ever, it adds to the misery. And then we witnessed someone trying to just literally lean up against what would you call this? It's in the hub in Magic Kingdom. It's a place where you could lean up against it and kind of just get a rest. Just a brief pause. And a cast member was like, "You can't sit there." And I wanted to say to the person, "You should declare medical emergency. I'm going to sit here. You bring the team out and get me some water while you're at it."
You know what? And of course, it would have at one time. It would have been like, "Hello, my friend. I'm so sorry, but unfortunately, you're not allowed. We're not able to sit there for safety reasons or something like that." And nowadays, it's you can't sit there.
Well, and the bad thing is, Marvin, the bad thing is you can sit there. It's probably some sort of VIP fireworks thing that was coming up in 3 hours. So, get out the yellow tape. Anyway. Well, Marvin, we've harped enough, but folks, we've been playing video this entire time to show you we're not making it up. I mean, when I say Epcot's empty, you can see the video playing and you can see that it's I mean, what else do you want me to say? It's empty. And I'm concerned about the Disney company. Inside Out 2 is a drop in the bucket compared to how much money Walt Disney World makes. They need to fix this immediately. Immediately fix this. Epic Universe is going to wallop them. And if you're paying $300 a day, you should have a great experience. You pay $300 a day, you need to be able to get off the Imagination ride in Epcot that nobody rides, that's halfway broken. By the way, it was halfway broken today. But you should be able to get off and go upstairs into that pyramid and get a place to sit down and enjoy some air conditioning. You should not be miserable for $300 a day. That's not what
only
you
only if you're DVC can you go up there and get your little cookies and whatever.
No, it was even closed to DVC, Marvin. Even had a sign
really?
Up. You got to go to the Odyssey if you want DVC comforts. The Odyssey.
Wow.
Yeah. So there you go. All right, folks, we've grabbed enough, but listen, I'm not doing it to be mean to Disney. If you think that's what we're doing, it's not. I'm here raising the red flag and saying, fix this. We don't want you to suffer. Dear Disney, please fix this. You're making your guests suffer. All right, if you don't want to suffer, though, Marvin the Movie Monster has great content on Tooneytown TV and Tooneytown Wrestling. Both links are down below. Marvin, tell the folks out there what you are up to here on your slice of the web.
Oh, well, Tooneytown TV, we just passed 2,000 subscribers today in just about 5 weeks of operations. So I'm over the moon, ecstatic. We passed 2,000 subscribers while I was sitting on the That Game Place live stream earlier today. So very, very exciting day. We just recently posted an Acolyte episode 6 review that people really seem to be liking. We just did a trailer reaction for Gladiator 2. And we did a video today about the fact that these showrunners are now being coy about whether or not the stranger in Rings of Power is actually Gandalf the Grey, which he obviously is supposed to be, which is the stupidest thing of all time. And so we have daily content going on over there. I'm aiming for 2 videos a day, so hopefully we can get to that at some point. And of course, Tooneytown Wrestling, we got the Headlock Headlines, a scripted original series that airs there, just kind of reacting to the wrestling news with our cast of puppet characters, mostly every single week. Sometimes it takes me like a week and a half to get it out. It's a very labor intensive show. Plus our live streams tomorrow. Well, I guess tonight it'll be when this airs at 8 p.m. We've got Toonie Talk TV. So come on and join us. We're going to be talking, me and Kevin Apollo, we're going to be joined by a panel of experts and wonderful entertainment specialists, and we'll be talking all the entertainment news tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we got Toonie Talk Wrestling on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. as well.
Fantastic. And Marvin, you are definitely an up-and-comer. You're going to be one of those channels that folks wish they had been subscribed to way back when. Folks, remember, we're not here to be mean to Disney. We're trying to put out the warning. We're saying this is not going well. There's fun to be had. And there were some great cast members, and there were some good moments. But I've never seen the parks in this kind of shape where there's nothing to do, and it's not fun. And that's no good. You do not need to be there with Mario on the way to Central Florida. Folks, you can help us send that signal out by clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms, it's the notification bell, drop a comment down below, let us know your thoughts, and tell us what's been your experience. Maybe you've had the opposite experience at Disney World, and we hope that was the case. Folks will be doing new videos talking about how to fix this, because we're not interested in just critiquing, but I've got to get my mind wrapped around some of this too, because to go from, listen, you're paying $300 to have a wonderful time and make magical memories, not be miserable. So I got to think about this really hard, about how you fix all of this. It is a huge mess, and we'll talk about it in videos coming up. All right, folks, in the meantime, keep learning, keep growing. And even if you are stuck at a theme park with 100-degree temperatures and nothing to do, you still find a way to keep having fun.
This is Wilton the Troll reporting for That's Park Place, and I'm surrounded by loving and adoring people who are peacefully trying to make sure that poor kids aren't cold in the winter. And just behind me, you can see a totally natural bonfire for baking cookies or making marshmallows.
Yeah, so, Wilson, we really appreciate the effort and stuff, but we're looking for real and, accurate news reporting on that park place.
So not like most news outlets, huh?
No.